Hello, everybody, and welcome to Digital Marketing Masterclass. Alex and I are joined by Stu Heinecke. He's a best-selling author, growth interventionist, author of How to Get a Meeting with Anyone, and in that book, he actually invented the concept of contact marketing. And the book we're kind of going to maybe talk more about today in our discussion will be called How to Grow Your Business Like a Weed. So today we're going to focus our discussion on, we're calling it Weed Strategy for Digital Marketing, Unstoppable Growth Principles. And the first kind of area I want to throw out for us to discuss is unfair advantages, leveraging unique strengths for growth. Welcome, Stu, to the show.
Thank you so much. I've just been outside weeding.
Yeah, good. Good to be with you. I know, right?
Perfect. So unfair advantage, leveraging unique strengths for growth. What does that say to you from maybe the perspective of your book, which frames business growth or weeds and their strategies?
Well, I think weeds, I think maybe the best way to answer that question is to tell about the story when I was driving down the Santa Monica freeway, because it did everything. It set everything off. And so I was driving down the freeway a long time ago when I haven't been back in a while, but when traffic was really moving fast. Isn't that kind of an anomaly now? I don't know. But anyway, we're just speeding along, 6 lanes going one way, 6 lanes coming the other way, and a big concrete median in the middle. And I spotted this, this dandelion growing out of a crack in the concrete in the median. And, look at this, look at this setting. I mean, this is the worst place for a plant to take root and try to make a living, right? It's just all this sea of concrete and impossibility. But there was that dandelion that was pulling it off, and I thought, man, that's so impressive. What's it doing? I mean, like, how did it get there? Well, of course, we know how it got there. They have these seeds that fly all around. They probe every possible opportunity to take root, and I thought, okay, and we've seen it a million times, and I've seen that a million. I've seen dandelions growing out of cracks in concrete. We've all seen it our whole lives. But that one time it really registered with me. And I thought, well, what's going on with weeds? Is it one species or genus or something? Is there some sort of a biological link between all these different weed species? And actually they're not. They're just actually all weeds are plants that we think are pests. And so we call them a weed. It's sort of a pejorative term. That's all it is. It's not a biological term. And but what's going on with it? Do they have a model that they all use to grow like this and to thrive in these impossible situations? And if they do have a growth model, is it something we can apply to our businesses? Well, all of that happened in a split second, and I realized afterward that they do. It's not one species, obviously, as I just mentioned, but they do have this model that is that's based on having this unbeatable mindset. Well, just think about how they just how they grow back. If you have weeds growing out of your lawn, for example, and you go over with your mower. Okay, well, you got them for a little while. They'll be growing right back and faster than anything else. They just have this resilient, ultra resilient mindset. They don't stop. They run their process and they don't stop. And they run it with urgency and resiliency and adaptability. They do it in ways that we should be doing with our businesses. So that's part of it. Another part of it is they don't do anything without an unfair advantage, which is really kind of cool. Unless you're fighting weeds in your yard. But otherwise, it's really cool to watch them do this. I mentioned the dandelion growing out of the crack in the concrete median. Well, and when you ask yourself, or when I ask myself, we all probably do ask, how did it get there? Like what mechanism allowed it to do that? And of course, it's the fact that their seeds are meant to fly. And they fly around, drift around, and they really find their way into every nook and cranny. And they discover every possible opportunity to take root anywhere, everywhere. So that's an unfair advantage. I mean, think about an oak tree and acorns, they just drop. So they don't have the same kind of expansion, let's say, strategy built into their seeds. And as a result, they don't, I mean, the biggest tree in the world the biggest trees in the world are, I believe, they're the sequoias. and those just have these little tiny cones that drop right at the foot of their, or just right just immediately down below the tree. And if you look at the distribution map of a sequoia versus, let's say, a distribution map of the dandelion, there's no contest. So the dandelion has these amazing unfair advantages. And I don't know, should I go through the whole model? Because I'm feeling like it'll just go on.
Wait,
Well,
I got questions about that.
Dive into. So, first, you mentioned an unfair advantage that the weeds are using unfair advantages. And now, I mean, from my perspective, we have some of the people who've watched us and worked with us, they know we offer SKAI. It's a software. Normally you spend $1 million a month on it. We have the only global license for small and mid-sized companies. We're bringing it to them. And I often say this, hey guys, this is an unfair advantage because you can put by bidding systems on top of the bad bidding going on in Google that makes Google more money, doesn't make our clients more money. You can use the AI system to shunt the money to the next place it should go to make the absolute most highest profit and all that. And we say unfair advantage. We don't actually compare it to weeds that we're going to make you into a weed, but maybe we should be saying that. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, so technology can be an unfair advantage, but something in your book, and I love that it has a dandelion right on the front if you take the cover off. And I've been reading it and I'm really enjoying it. So, but can you talk a little bit, Stu and Aaron, about how does process become an unfair advantage? Like weeds run a process. You say that in your book, right?
Yeah.
So
well,
what is it about process that is unfair and allows for scale?
Yeah, well, that's another part of their model, of their growth model, which is that I think we can equate it to scale. But the thing is, they all do the same thing. So it's built into their DNA. It's really their evolution, and I think process and evolution are just absolutely tied together. So if you think about the process that they're running, that they're using, it's millions of years old. I mean, it's a very well-honed process, and then at the same time, it is also a living process. And one of the best examples of this that I found in my research was there's a weed that is spreading across North America. It's called the water hemp, and if you think about, let's say, dandelions, which are really hard to control, if you see one dandelion in your lawn, look up, you'll see there are lots of them because they have to do everything at scale, and so they're very hard to get rid of. Well, they're putting out 15,000 seeds on average over a 5 to 10 year lifespan. But if then if we look at the water hemp, that is producing up to 4.8 million seeds per plant, and it's an annual. So that's every year, every plant produces that many seeds, which means this plant is never leaving. It's never going away. But there's another part of it. It produces so many seeds, and you think about just sort of the laws of probability and how there will be these mutations. I mean, it's part of its model. Part of its process is to produce mutations, particularly in response to environmental challenges, whatever challenges they're facing. So, well, if they're showing up on a farm or in agricultural land, they have to deal with all these. There's just this phalanx of herbicides that the farmers are using to kill off the weeds. And one of those is glyphosate. That's the active ingredient in Roundup. Really nasty stuff. And this plant produced immunity to Roundup in 4 years because of that, or through that well, it's a process, but it's a strategy that produced that many seeds, just trillions of seeds. Some of them are going to produce, or many of them are going to produce useful mutations, which work around, which sort of solve the problem of glyphosate. And so suddenly that's built into their process. And by that, I mean, their process is built into their DNA. It's what they do. It's how they form the seeds, how they grow, when they grow, all of that. It's all part of their process. And one really cool thing about their user process is that because it's built into their DNA, they don't have to train. There's no training, I should say. There's no need for that. They all get it. They all have it. It's all built in to the surviving plants. And as a result, they are, I guess you could say that they always focus on what makes them win, because that's what they're doing. And if you think about let's say the function of process in our businesses, it is the same thing. It is our evolution, and it is the mapping of sort of the sum total of all of our expertise, pardon me, all of our expertise and experience across the entire organization, theoretically. But that's why. So as a result, it allows the entire organization to act as an expert and act according to the expertise and experience of the entire organization, sort of the entire existence of the organization.